This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Unette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Give them a call, 727-9900. Today's news is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating. New service and repair. Call Gunny's 775-727-6800.
Welcome to News 25. We're so glad you could join us here on KPVM TV and Ace Country Radio. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. It is Thursday, May 12th.
Well, a fire Wednesday evening destroys an abandoned trailer in South Pahrump. Authorities say the cause is suspicious and they're seeking tips from the public as to the investigation, which continues.
Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue and the Nye County Sheriff's Office were called to the area of Gamebird Road and Winchester Avenue Wednesday night for a report of an abandoned trailer on the side of the road that was on fire. Traffic was blocked in the area while fire crews attended to the well-involved structure. The single-wide manufactured dwelling was completely destroyed by flames. The fire has been deemed suspicious. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue is investigating. If you have any information regarding this incident, please call Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue at 775-727-5658 or the Nye County Sheriff's Office at 775-751-7000. You can remain anonymous.
Yes, and if you've ever wanted to become a foster family, foster care provides a life experience for children who've been removed from their homes due to abuse or neglect. Roughly 400 children here in rural Nevada are in foster care, and every day that number grows. Unfortunately, there are a limited number of foster homes in rural communities like here in Pahrump, but that's where you can join in and help. Shelby Riley, who works for the Nevada Division of Child and Family Services, explains what it takes for you to become a foster parent.
Foster families provide safe, temporary, trauma-informed care to children while they're in the foster care system, and their parents are working on rebuilding their lives for their children to reunify back home.
And that's the goal, isn't it?
Yes, most of the time that will be the goal, and especially for that first year, the courts are going to be making a plan with the parents, and we review that plan every few months to see how that progress goes, and hopefully results in reunification of that family. Our requirements are pretty basic. You only need to be at least 21 years old to get started. You can be single, married, or in a domestic partnership. You could be working full-time, or someone can be staying at home. Your family makeup can look different. There can be grandmas, there can be aunts, there can be uncles that living in the home. And we'll require that you're able to pass a background check and federal fingerprints, as well as being able to comply with a home inspection and a thorough home study to get to understand how your home functions for fostering. Children that enter the foster care system are in the foster care system because some kind of abuse or neglect is going on in their own home. Our research says that most of our child welfare cases are due to neglect. Neglect can look like many different things. It can look like inadequate housing. It can look like inadequate food. It can look like failure to protect when an adult is not stepping up to protect a child from harm's way. And it can look like a variety of reasons where it really comes down to that the family is experiencing a crisis and they need support. Foster care is a very unique experience, and we understand that not everyone understands or is experienced with foster care, and that's okay. We really are looking for that you are open to learning new ways of parenting and new ways of trauma-informed care. We do offer 27 hours of foster parent training initially, and we offer continuing training throughout your fostering experience to continue to support that education. Foster care can be an unpredictable journey, and cases can last anywhere from 30 days to several years. The average is about 18 months, while children are working on reunifying back with their families or finding an adoptive home. When we don't have enough foster homes in one given community, that means we're forced with the reality that we need to be displacing children from their own community and placing them in several communities that are several miles away from where they're from. There is a monthly stipend that's meant to go towards the needs of the child, whether that be food, clothing, or educational needs, and that's based on age. For children 12 and under, that rate is about $600 a month. For children over the age of 13, that rate is about $700 per month. You can start by visiting our website at www.rulenvfostercare.com. It's our brand new website and it has a lot of great information and frequently asked questions. When you're ready to get started, you can click on the blue Get Started button at the bottom of the page, and then from there you can create your account to become a foster parent. All of your paperwork is going to be uploaded online, and your training will also be held online via a web conference format. Our next training is scheduled in July, so you have plenty of time to get your application started and get enrolled into that training.
And a hit-and-run crash here in Pahrump ends with the arrest of one driver who now faces several charges, including driving under the influence. Here's Brad Francis with more.
Lamanik Kahu has been booked into the Nye County Detention Center for driving under the influence, failure to yield the right-of-way in a left turn, and hit-and-run causing property damage. State troopers were dispatched to a hit-and-run crash Wednesday evening at the intersection of State Route 160 and State Route 372 in Pahrump. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies who were already on scene told troopers that a pickup truck crashed into the victim's vehicle and fled the scene. Moments later, someone called 911 from State Route 160 in front of Walmart to report their vehicle had been hit, saying they needed an officer to take a report. Troopers made contact with that driver, who they identified as Kahu, and determined her vehicle was the one involved in the hit-and-run crash at 160 and 372. The trooper advised Kahu to drive to that location to continue the investigation. In his report, the trooper says once they returned to the original crash scene, he observed Kahu to be slurring her speech and noticed an odor of alcohol coming from her. The trooper administered a set of field sobriety tests, which she failed. The trooper also notes that during the crash investigation, it was determined that Kahu was at fault in the crash, and went on to say in his report that during questioning she had no recollection of where the crash took place or what other vehicle was involved. Kahu was placed under arrest and transported to jail. Once there, she voluntarily provided an evidentiary blood sample, which will be sent to Las Vegas for testing.
And when we return, we'll detail tragic details on a milestone in the ongoing coronavirus global health pandemic. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on. This segment of News 25 is brought to you by Lisa Spahitz and Mike Plasmeyer at Country Financial Insurance. Auto, home, life, and commercial. 775-727-8920.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, President Joe Biden orders the nation's flags to be flown at half-staff. President Biden says that today we mark a tragic milestone: 1 million American lives lost to COVID-19. 1 million empty chairs around the dinner table, he says, each an irreplaceable loss, each leaving behind a family, community, and nation forever changed because of this ongoing pandemic. The flag shall be flown at half-staff for the same period at all U.S. embassies, legislations, consular offices, and facilities abroad, including all military facilities and naval vessels and stations.
And the public is invited to Combating Racism and Discrimination, a community town hall at UNLV's Philip J. Cohen Theater in the Student Union on Friday, June 3rd from 6 to 8 p.m. This free event is hosted by the Clark County Asian American Pacific Islanders Community Commission in partnership with UNLV's Filipinx American Student Association. The doors open at 5:30 p.m. Parking is free and attendees may park in any staff, student, or metered parking spot. Lot D, they say, is closest to the event venue. The purpose of the event is to educate the community about intolerance, xenophobia, and anti-Asian sentiment, organizers say. And of course, if you want any more information on that, you can go to KPVM's Facebook page.
And if you're in the mood to laugh, you'll want to head out to Pahrump Valley Winery this weekend. Saturday, the Kiwanis Club of Pahrump Valley presents Comedy Under the Stars. Reva Braun gives us a preview of that star-studded lineup.
It is May 14th at Pahrump Winery, and we are starring Shelly Fisher. And for those who don't know the name, she is the Bagel Lady. And she's very versatile. She can sing, she can act, she can make bagels. And she definitely is a great comedian. Dwayne Perkins, he's coming in for the show. He's a friend of Shelly's. He's coming in to do Shelly a favor. And Mike Shank, he just did the VFW show, and I think he's doing another show after ours. And a couple of other surprises in store for people. It is our scholarship fundraiser, and this year, if we make enough money, we hope to give 2 young girls going to the Cinderella State some money to help them along the way.
All right. Well, heart disease is the leading cause of death for men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups in the United States. In today's Medical Minute, Dr. Vasquez says that's why it's especially important to recognize the warning signs.
This Medical Minute is brought to you by Spring Mountain Medical, healthcare the way you've always imagined it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Baralo Vasquez with Spring Mountain Medical, your hometown health and wellness provider. Today, I'm going to talk to you about signs and symptoms of heart disease. Your heart is the absolute center of your health and well-being. Are you giving it the care it deserves? Each of us have different factors that put our hearts at risk each day. Environment, smoking, alcohol abuse, overeating, inactive sedentary lifestyle, and more contribute to decreases in cardiac function. Too often, my patients think that ignoring the problem or relying on medications over lifestyle changes is a solution. Most cardiac issues can be resolved through lifestyle changes in diet, exercise, and sleep. I believe there is a proper place for medications and prescribe them when appropriate. You should, however, always consider lifestyle choices first. If you're struggling to make the changes you need to help your heart, we can help. To make it easier, we accept most major insurances, including Medicare Advantage plans. Nothing should keep you from being your healthiest. You owe it to yourself. I'm Dr. Vasquez, and this has been a Medical Minute brought to you by Spring Mountain Medical.
And in more health news, we don't have to worry about it much here in the desert, but if you live in greener locales, or if you will be traveling there or hiking there soon, warmer weather means that you might have to deal with ticks and other outdoor harms. Dr. Dan Sullivan says these critters can transmit Lyme disease and other ailments.
The early symptoms are the ones where you may have the neck stiffness, the muscle aches, a low-grade fever, the change in appetite. That tends to be in that early phase where this tick has bitten us and put that bacteria into our skin.
Ticks burrow into the skin and can transmit bacteria, which may lead to Lyme disease. Symptoms can include headaches, breathing issues, or arthritis. More serious complications can occur as well, like inflammation of the heart muscle, spinal cord swelling, or facial paralysis. Ticks like to hide in high grass, so keep your lawn mowed and hedges trimmed. When going into the woods, cover up exposed skin with clothing. You can also use an insect repellent containing DEET to help protect exposed skin. And after being in heavily wooded areas, do a tick check. It's important to look behind knees, underarms, and on your scalp. If you find a tick, carefully remove it with tweezers. And if bitten, watch for a small red spot that may develop into a distinctive bullseye rash.
That bacteria which is in the saliva, starts to multiply. And that causes the expanding rash beyond that initial red mark. And as that bacteria expands under our skin, the center, that initial red spot, starts to fade. So it looks a little bit like a bullseye.
If you are experiencing symptoms or notice a bullseye rash, see a physician. Dr. Sullivan says if caught early, Lyme disease can generally be cured when treated with antibiotics.
Yes, it's important to take precautions.
I know, especially because you go down to Mississippi a lot.
That's right.
That's
Yeah. We have family and we have to be safe and wear sunscreen.
There you go.
All right, we'll be right back.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Or you can have a soundtrack.
All right, we're going to go to your sports right now with Doug Ferber.
Hello, sports fans. The Las Vegas Aces continue their Eastern swing with a stop in Atlanta. The Aviators are looking for clues to stop the hot Salt Lake Bats, and the Las Vegas ballpark will showcase the area's top high school baseball teams next week. I'm Doug Ferber. The Las Vegas Aces took their 2-0 record into Washington Tuesday night with lots of confidence. After all, Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, and Derica Hamby were seemingly scoring at will. The Mystics were prepared, however, coming from a 13-point halftime deficit, outscoring the Aces 24-7 in the third and 29-20 in the fourth for a convincing 89-76 win in D.C. Jackie Young led Vegas with 19, but Teresa Placence came off the bench hitting 3 of 4 three-pointers for Las Vegas to add a spark to what turned out to be a disappointing performance for the Aces, who now lead the league in three-point shooting, hitting 42% outside the line.
I thought they did a nice job offensively and defensively, exploiting what we did. And I thought we were just a day late, dollar short, step late defensively, especially on rotations. So, still a lot of season to go, and we got a lot to learn. And, we learn from it and move on.
I think we just honestly went away from our principles. We got to credit Washington. They did what they needed to do. But at the end of the day, I think it was on us. We went away from the things that got us this far, and we can't do that. And I don't even want to blame the flight, but we did have a little fatigue in us coming off of that long behind flight here. But at the end of the day, we're just going to learn from it and grow from it. This was a good test for us to see where we were at mentally tough. And at the end of the day, we still are who we are.
Elena Del Don scored 19 to lead the Mystics, who are now 3-0 on the season. The Aces are in Atlanta for a clash with the Dream tomorrow night. The Las Vegas Aviators have had their ups and downs already this season. On Saturday and Sunday, they looked like world beaters in Sacramento, taking the last 2 games of the series with relative ease and winning 4 of 6 to lead the PCL West with a 17-13 record. Starter Parker Dunshee was also named PCL Player of the Week. This week has not gotten off to a good start, as the Aviators have no answers to the offensive onslaught that Salt Lake has brought to town on Tuesday and Wednesday night at the Las Vegas ballpark. Tuesday, the Bees scored 11 runs on 13 hits in their 11-2 thrashing of Vegas. Wednesday was much the same, as the Angels AAA team once again beat the A's AAA team 10-3. Last week's hero, Parker Dunshee, last night he was not on his game, giving up 7 runs in 4 innings, including 2 homers. It was Dunshee's second loss of this young season. The Aviators are now a game out of first place, trailing Salt Lake in their division. They face the Bees 4 more times on the homestand. Tonight's first pitch is set for 7:05 p.m. Aviator outfielder Luis Barrera was called up to Oakland on Sunday. So far, he's 1 for 4 with 2 walks in the A's series in Detroit. The Vegas Nighthawks are in San Diego Saturday afternoon trying to rebound from their loss last week to Northern Arizona. Vegas returns to the Dollar Loan Center the following Saturday to take on Duke City. The Nevada State Regional High School Baseball Finals will be held next week at the Las Vegas Ballpark, College of Southern Nevada, and at Bishop Gorman High School. Check the NIAA website for more information. For KPVM 25 TV Sports, I'm Doug Ferber.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
What does it look like outside? Well, lots of clouds in the sky. The winds have died down.
They have.
Yeah, but the temperatures are going back up. We'll take a closer look with John Kohler after the break.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. It's John Kohler from the KPVM Channel 25 Weather Studios. Nice to see you on a Thursday. Weather's so nice, it needs a safe word, don't you think? Fernley and Found, mid-60s, 66, 67, not too bad. Carson City, 61. That's the cold spot in the state today, as it so often is. Work on that. 64 degrees out in Tonopah. Goldfield, you got 65. Beatty, 72, 76 out in Amargosa. And the hot spot today, Las Vegas, hooray, on a Thursday, not too bad, 78 degrees. Out in Death Valley, just a scant 85. And here in the paradise of Pahrump, let's take a look. 74, that's our current temperature. was as much as 75 just a little bit earlier. Winds kindly out of the southwest all day long, about 7 miles per hour, just whispering like wonderful to me. The sun rose this morning in all its glory and promise at 5:39, and it's setting this evening. Look for it at 7:40 under mostly clear skies. That means we get a few clouds to play with to make our sunset super special. Low tonight, 50 degrees, and those winds continuing gently out of the east-northeast to 5 miles per hour. As we head into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what do we got? All kinds of wonderful. Look at this. Clear skies Friday and Saturday, temperatures up in the high 80s, go to mid 90s and stay there all week long. Look at that. Sunday looks like we get a little bit of wind action, and it looks like next Thursday maybe a wind event coming at us, but those temperatures and that nice clear sky and those winds mostly around 10 miles per hour. Pretty good. Make your plans. Back to the desk. Here's Deanna.
All right, thanks, John. And it's going to be a nice little warm-up. Mid-90s in the highs, mid-60s. I can enjoy that.
I like it when it's a little bit cooler, and then what you end up having is you can open up your windows at night, have a little bit of cool weather.
Yes. As long as it's not too cold. Yes. Warm weather. That's why we live in the desert, right?
I'm never in a big rush to get to the summer. I can tell you I love this little lull.
That's true.
There you go. All right, so that's going to wrap up this edition of News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. And from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, thanks so much for joining us this newscast, and we'll see you on the other side of the news tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.